This is a parable that I just created about the awakening bear. There was once a great bear, powerful and wise, but he had been taken as a cub and raised inside a cage. The cage was strong when he was young, but over the years the bars grew rusty. One day, without even realizing it, the door crashed open. At first, nothing had changed. The bear paced the small circle he had always walked inside the cage. He ate the food that was brought to him. He slept under the same shadow. The open door didn't even register because he had grown used to the limits of the cage. But sometimes in the quiet hours, the bear would feel something. A breeze would slip through the open door. A scent of pine trees, rivers, and mountains would stir his nose. His heart would race as if it remembered freedom his mind had long forgotten. When fear came, the air would feel cold and heavy, urging him to stay where it was. But when hope came, the air felt light and electric, whispering of rivers to swim in, salmon to catch, and stars to sleep under. The bear would stand in the doorway, trembling. He did not know which step to take first, or where the forest trails might lead. The cage was familiar, and the world was unknown. And yet the truth was simple. The only thing holding the bear inside was the comfort of what he already knew. Freedom, therefore, was not a battle to be won. It was just a step to be taken. Now, I wrote this because it's so important to remember that most of the time in life, we are the only things holding ourselves back. And I'm saying this to you, but I'm hearing it myself because this is exactly where I am as well. So like the awakening bear, most of us live in a cage door already open. The shift comes not from fighting, not from trying to break free from the cage, but in trusting the first step into the wild. Now, I like to always say there's no big bells or whistles that go off, when large life moments. I've experienced this myself. When my children were conceived, there was no bells that went off. When sometimes when you win an award or a championship, there might be some cheering, but those quickly fade. And most of life's biggest moments kind of just pass you by. You really can understand this if you're a parent. And you can understand this even thinking about getting your first car or your first house or even your first rented house or, the first, you saved up for so long to buy a PlayStation or whatever it may be. There's never a time where anything, not often, big bells go off when you succeed, when you've done something. And if you look at your life now in comparison to the past, you'll probably see how far you've come and the steps that it takes to be able to get to where you want to go are just little changes every single day. With myself, I'm working out. I'm in my gym. I'm doing things. I'm slowly making these videos, and I'm trying to stay consistent. The consistency is the key, is the quality behind it. When you're putting in that effort, even when you don't feel like it, when you're doing this, when you're doing what you love just because you love it, those are the things that lead to the bigger moments. So in this teaching, the cage is like your old beliefs. It's your fears. It's your comfort zone. It's where you feel most secure because even though it was a cage at first, it became your home. The open door in the cage is like your awakening. So nothing is stopping us from our but our own attachment to the familiar. That's why a lot of our society gets in a comfort zone. When you get comfortable and you start demanding things, you start saying, this is what I deserve, and you're not working for it, or you can get lazy, you can get complacent, you can feel all of these different things because you're not stepping out with courage anymore. You're just comfort, and you're not, you make these beliefs and you're like, I want this life, but I'm comfortable and I don't want to put in the steps to get there. I don't want to put in the work to get there. And then there's the breeze through the cage, which is, again, the intuition, the subtle sensations going, guiding us forward. So we're feeling that airflow, and we're like, hey, something is different. Nothing is holding us back. There's all these feelings. I'm guided to do my art. I'm guided to do this. I'm guided to do that. And yet you're not taking action on those things, because action is the language of the universe. You have to step forward in courage with those actions. And the forest is the unknown path of the soul, where the real life is waiting, where all those things that are there, ready for you, prepared for you. Again, you might go in the woods and see a beautiful home that you've already created for yourself. Your higher self knows all this stuff. Your higher self knows the path you're on, and it can see all the different avenues that you've set up for yourself, but you're not taking those steps to go out, to go do those things. So it requires the action. It requires courage. It requires confidence. And sometimes, again, going through my program, there's lots that can be taken from that. You have to remember and understand the things that you struggle with, and realize what hidden beliefs you have, and then you have to replace those beliefs, and you have to empower yourself with new beliefs, and then you just kind of go through and start embodying those teachings. But at the end of the day, it requires courage. It requires courage to step into what you want to do. And it requires consistency. And when nothing changes in a month, you can't get discouraged. You can't say, this is it, this is done. You have to step forward every single day, knowing that at least today is a further step than yesterday was. And you're just beating yourself every day. You're improving on the steps you've made. Every day is just another step towards a thing, towards your goals. But as you look back, you realize, oh my God, I walked a mile. I did it. I walked the mile. I'm out of my comfort zone. I would have never imagined I would be here. It requires that every single day that we make those, we take action on what we believe. Even if it's silly, even if the first 3 months or 6 months or a year or 2 years are even all just about you gaining confidence, about you growing, about you learning in your space. At the end of the day, that's all still progress that was made. If you go to school and you realize, oh, this isn't the program for me, and you switch programs and you realize that's not the program for you, and you realize that's not the program for you, and I recognize there's money involved and things like that, but at the same time, you have to move in the direction you think you're supposed to go. So then if it's not the right direction, you'll be guided and directed in a different direction. And you can't look at those things when you make those changes, when you say, oh, you know what, when you pivot, you're just getting closer and closer and closer to where you are supposed to go. So don't judge yourself when that happens as well, because that's really important. So it's just important, re-listen to the story. There's so much out there. And that's called The Awakening Bear. So I hope that it resonates with you, and I hope that you find I hope that it helps give you some courage to step forward on your path, because that's what's important here. We all want to make progress towards our goals and get there. It's just consistent, small action daily. Okay? Love you guys.